we know where we are coming from. We are coming from Windows CE, Windows Mobile operating system. It's an operating system that has been built as a version of the Windows operating system for mobile devices, where an application, it's in control of everything on the device. It's nice because for application developers, they can do everything. So even to build an MDM-like application on the device, you don't need to have anything specific. Once the application is on the device, you can do whatever you want. The difference is with Android, from this point of view, it's huge, because Android, it's a closed operating system. It has been built as a phone operating system, where you don't want that a single application compromise your phone or get access to information that you don't want that this application get access. So it's a complete different world, and because this is what we have as a basis, we have to try to close this gap between what an enterprise was used to do in the past with an operating system like Windows Mobile. That, by the way, we just talked about security. A lot of people talking with end user in the last 2 years about security, they were telling me, oh, but Android is not secure as Windows CE, as Windows Mobile. Well, on Windows Mobile, Windows CE, there was no security. So for sure, Android is not like Windows CE and Windows Mobile, but for the other, the exact opposite from this point of view. It's way more secure, is putting a lot of constraints on the application. And what we have seen over the year is that we started a long journey in 2011 with the 81 and Gingerbread, and what was available in the operating system to manage this device, to control this device by the application was absolutely not enough. So we started to build this mobility extension, just even to do simple things like changing date and time of the device is not something that a normal application on Android can do for security reasons. Simply because you don't want that a random application start to change the date and time of your device, and you miss alarm, you miss meetings because the device, some games decided that you are on a different time zone. But for an enterprise application, it's even important to be able to do that, because maybe you want to install a security certificate that is valid only in a specific day and in a specific period of time. So with MX, we started to build these capabilities, these additional features inside Android. But because it's a proprietary solution, it's built by Zebra, the adoption of MX obviously is low. We have partners like Sony AirWatch that integrated MX capability inside their EMM solution, but it's not used by most of the EMM, for example. But Android is not standing still. So we get a new version of Android every year. As we have seen before, since Lollipop, there is starting to be a strong focus on the enterprise capabilities of Android and adding new enterprise capabilities. And now in Marshmallow, we started to have most of the features that we needed to be able to control the device. So we have this new device policy manager API that originally was just simply enforcing few options on the device, but is now available to control the device. We are usually talking about working with a device owner on the device, and this is what is now available with since Marshmallow. In Nougat, so Android 7, we start to see that this is the preferred way to manage the device. So we will see a transition from device administrator, that was the previous version of this capability to control the device, to this much more powerful, especially for the COSU market, for the corporate-owned single-use device, to moving from device administrator to device owner. And this is now, there is an industry commitment over this kind of manageability. There is an app config consortium that is collecting most of the software vendor for the EMM ecosystem. And so we think that this is the best option for our market, to have to agree all together on how to manage these devices. Cannot be a Zebra-only solution. Needs to be something driven by the market. In this case, by the Google and the enterprise with the enterprise Android capability. And so, what we are planning for the future, everything that in the past was available as a Max will be still available as a compatibility layer for backwards compatibility. But the new on Nougat, so at the end of the year, we will start to release update for the existing devices and new devices specifically launched with Nougat. We will have part of the functionality that in the past we were implementing inside the Max implemented on top of the enterprise Android ecosystem, on top of the enterprise Android APIs that are now starting to be available in Nougat, and we are comfortable enough that more or less 60% of what we have in MX can be done with standard Android APIs. We still have a portion, 40%, 35%, 40% that is not available in Nougat. Android Oreo is adding more functionality, so we are closing this gap. We are working with Google to close this gap, but it's important for us to see that the trajectory is really nice for the enterprise market on Android, because the trajectory is pointing in the right direction. Google has a very strong focus working with us to close this gap and be sure that all the needed features are included in the standard operating system. But it's really about the business challenge. And talking about business, I think that Mark is probably the best one to talk about it.
Okay. So I've let the technical guys talk now. They know far more than I do. So it's all well and good. We have these set of APIs and we have these features and functions, but you get 100 devices. You want to send them out to your users. You want to make sure they're managed. You want to maybe make sure when one comes back, it gets restaged, it gets the same settings put on, you get the same wireless, you get the same configuration. What can we do to make sure you have a consistent solution moving forward, and what can our partners, such as the IBCS team, do to make sure they have this consistent approach? So we also understand that not everybody wants an EMM, an MDM solution. If you've got 10 devices that are all in one store, you might not need an MDM. So we wanted to create a solution that was fit for that market. So we developed a solution called Stage Now, and if you've ever used the Windows mobile devices, we had a similar solution called Rapid Deployment, which allowed you to configure the devices in the same way. This allows you to do device management in 3 ways. You can either create a profile which you use a PC tool, and it gives you a barcode that the device can scan the barcode, it'll connect to the wireless, it'll download the applications, it'll install the applications, it'll set the configuration of the unit. Whatever you set, it'll do off scanning a barcode, okay? One scan, and away you go. You can also do it if you want to use it with an NFC tag. So maybe you want to tap a tag, and it'll configure the same way. Or if you're really crazy, you might want to use sound, and you can actually play an audio tune, and you can put 20 units there, and they can all listen to this tune, and it'll configure. Oh, good luck with that one. But we're also looking at ways that you may want to just copy a configuration of a device. So maybe you set a unit up exactly how you want, and you want to copy that. We're looking at whether we can tap and pair the 2 devices together to copy the config from one to another. So everything that we've talked about that you can do, this tool allows you to do. So maybe the first thing you want to do when you get the unit is update it. So you can set it to update. Maybe then you want it to enroll in a SOTI or an AirWatch or an MDM. You want to install an application silently. You want to set certificates. You want to set policies. All of this can be configured in a tool. And what does that mean? It means you have a standardized solution. It means your productivity you know is guaranteed when it's out there. You do what we call a gold build. I don't know whether you heard that phrase before, but that's where you sign off a build, everybody tests it, make sure they're happy, and then everybody makes sure that it's always at that same level on a consistent basis. If you get one back from a user and he goes, it's not working, you can scan a barcode and reconfigure it to exactly how it was before so you know it's exactly right. So all these things around quicker, make sure it's right, first time, all fits. I say there's a little app that sits on the device that reads the barcode, and then there's a PC workstation. And if we think of it in a way, I've got a really fancy graphic here. I spent a long time on this. So we have a PC. You go on the tool, you create it, you pick whatever you want to pick. It creates a configuration. You then create your barcode. So here's a PDF 417 barcode. The device then scans it, like magic. That configuration then goes onto the device and stages it to exactly how you want to be, right? It's pretty basic and simple, but it does exactly what you need to do. And I think the majority of our users that have got Android devices are using this solution. And we keep updating it and bringing new features out. And as Pietro says, when we have a new feature, or when Google have a new feature, we update this solution so you can also configure it exactly how you want. So that's getting it out there, right? So you stage it and you actually get it out to your user. But once the device is out in the field, how do you make sure that you know where it is, that you know what it's configured, that you know it's being used? And these are some stats. You can see where they're from VDC, from different blogs, Gartner, etc. And these are stats that say how much is not knowing where your device is and being used costing your organization. And today you might not know because you might not know where they are. But when you start looking at these stats, you can see that if 80 minutes of productivity is lost from when a device breaks, that's not good for anyone, right? Or if you know that 75% of organizations struggle to know where their asset is, normally that means they buy more devices, right? They don't know where they are. Let's just throw money at it and buy some new ones. Now, I'm not going to stand here and say don't buy devices, but I would rather you made use of your devices the best we can. And I have a customer who actually, we put devices into their sorting facility around 5 years ago. They took about 1,000 devices and they ran them, and then they said, oh, we need some more devices. And we were like, okay, but do you know where your actual devices are today? And they said, we've got no idea. So we actually did an audit with them, and they actually found that they were only using 500 of the 1,000 devices. The others were sat in boxes, spares all over the place, because they never turned them on. So that we actually saved them buying the new devices by finding them, by helping them, and then we rolled out a visibility tool for them to keep that constant information flowing to them. So again, you install an MDM, right? So if you use a SOTI or an AirWatch to see where your devices is, that's all great. And really, you have to be an IT wizard. I don't know how many of you have ever used a SOTI or an AirWatch console or any form of mobile device management client. You have to be a pretty clue on and know what you're doing. So we wanted to make it easier for an IT organization. So we created a solution called AVS, Asset Visibility Service. And our latest devices, this comes on the device. You can choose to turn it on or off, depending on what you want to do. It connects to a cloud, and it gives you data about what the device is doing in dashboards. So you can see how many devices you've got running, if there's any problems, and get suggestions of what's going wrong. So here's a quick view of what it kind of looks like. It's a green, amber, red traffic light system to show you when things are good, bad, or indifferent. So you can see here, this kind of circle shows you how many devices are active. It shows you where they are in terms of, are they on, are they being used, are there any critical actions that need to be done. Maybe you can see that 80% of them in a warehouse have not got connectivity. They haven't been seen in the last 12 hours. Well, that might mean your wireless has gone down. But maybe the guys that are picking don't realize that. So it can give you the action ability to go and find out what's going on and see. So this is a kind of a read-only status. So this allows you to see what's going, but it doesn't allow you to manage and configure the units. We also have a solution which we call OVS. Now this is an operational visibility dashboard. And this one links in with SOTI. So you have SOTI as a mobile device management client to allow you to configure, manage, and look after your units so you know where they are. But then this one shows you more high level of exactly where they are, when they were seen, whether they've got signal, where they were last seen, so we can plot a map up. So all this data is coming out of SOTI, but you can see it in a more user-friendly dashboard. So if you have a retail store, and maybe you have 5 different stores that are part of a region, we can set a dashboard for the regional manager, so he can see his whole region. We can set a dashboard for the store. We can set a dashboard for the guy that may work in the frozen food section or in the women's clothes. So each person can see the stats that are relevant to them. And then you can have a generic global view from a whole organizational perspective. But again, it's giving the right data to the right people to give them the right action to move with it. And this supports printers as well as devices, so you can mix them together. But we'll also support, as I was saying earlier, we'll support consumer devices as well. So if you have a range of consumer devices that maybe are running with the managers that want to use their iPad or want to use their Samsung, we can also put these in there so you can see when they were last seen. Now, if they don't have the information into the mobile device management client, we can't show it on here. So whatever we can show, we will retract and put in. But if, for instance, they don't show where their last known location is because they don't have a GPS chip in there, then we can't show that. But we'll show whatever we can on a dashboard, which is user-friendly. The other thing that we've done here is to provide our end users with full visibility from a Zebra perspective. So we'll give you the full visibility of our repair status of devices. Now, this is open, so you have this service. You see when the device is sent to Zebra. We show you the exact timeline of how long it takes us to fix the device. We even show you what we've repaired. So you can see exactly how long we take. And if we miss our SLA, you can see that, and we're open and honest to that. So we've shared that data for the first time in a dashboard for you. Here's some more ideas. Battery statistics, so you can see when a battery on a device needs to be refreshed. So if you can see that the charge on a battery is going down and down and down and down, or you can see the number of cycles has got to the point where it needs to be changed, it means you can be proactive. So maybe you've rolled out store or sites in a row, and the first one now is time to refresh. You'll be able to see that one's first on the list because the battery's degraded the most, and roll out the repair in a scenario which fits. Out of control, total inventory, so you can see how many are active every day. So maybe you've deployed 1,000 units, but you only ever see 800s on. You can see which store or which area, again, isn't using it to its full view.